Morg,
Yes.
the hat was back. Did you see it this time?
Okay, Audrina's hat. Yes, I did see it. I agree, Joe. It's like a Newsies wool cap.
And apparently she loves it because she wears it to the club and she wears it to a softball game.
A softball game, which I am confused about the timing and the weather in LA. I guess I always thought LA was like warmer. She's wearing like a wool news cap.
She's making it work, which feels so LA. It's like I feel like people wear like pullovers year round and it's like they don't have winter, so they try to make winter fit.
You're right. And some Uggs with like a little mini skirt.
Yes, that is LA right there, summed up in a look. 2007 LA. So we are the Double Loser podcast, and once again we are back here revisiting The Hills, and this week we are on episode 9 and 10 of season 2. Wow, only 2 more and we're done with season 2.
So if you haven't yet, go watch episodes 9 and 10 before you listen to us, because we're about to spoil that.
And it gets good. I mean, in these 2 episodes, I feel like we cover a lot. I mean, one thing that we were just talking about is it's New Year's once more.
I know. I feel like a blur. I mean, we are rocking through this because they're 20 minutes long, but I feel like these are the major holidays of The Hills. Heidi's birthday, Lauren's birthday.
Exactly.
New Year's.
Exactly.
Like, those are the major holidays, and then we see them work the other, like, 4 episodes.
Although, speaking of, I have a question about Heidi's work. It feels like she didn't really do any working for these couple of episodes, but we can revisit that later. I guess to start, I should do a quick little summary of what happened in these episodes. So in episode 9, what happened is it's New Year's, and Lauren and Audrina seem to get a little bit closer, and oh my gosh, Spencer drops a huge bomb. Spencer wants Heidi to move in with him, and Heidi seems a little bit on the fence. I know. So, and then in episode 10, the big focus is Lauren turns 21 and it's huge. And Heidi plans what appears to me to be a very mean-spirited surprise party, but what do I know? And she invites a bunch of people and we see the Jen Bunny drama unfold a little bit more.
Yes.
And I mean, that's really what happens in these episodes.
Yeah, Joe, that's right. I felt like, though, we got a little bit more meat than the last 2 that we went over. I was really into it. And I feel like these episodes, we saw Lauren Conrad have more fun than I think I've seen her ever have.
That's true. She was laughing and giggling, but I even have questions about that because as we know, her and Heidi are having a lot of troubles, and it seems like her and Audrina are getting closer. And I almost wondered if it was to make Heidi feel bad.
Ooh.
Like if she just wanted to appear like she was having a lot of fun.
Maybe you're right. I was mistrusting it.
I don't know, but it crossed my mind.
I thought she was having a great time, but you might be right.
I don't know. Could be.
So where do we start, Joe? We start at New Year's because that is what these girls love.
Yes, New Year's once more. They love to get dressed up, go to the clubs. Fortunately, this year, Morg, I didn't see a single top hat, and for that, I am thankful.
I didn't see a single top hat, and I am appreciative that nobody had a date that was dressed up like Dumb and Dumber. Because I do feel like that is what Jordan and Jason looked like last year.
So does that mean Spencer's a step up from Jordan?
No, because he was dressed like a 1920s gangster in his pinstripe suit. Hey, honey, you better get back there.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like the suit wore him.
It was like so large. I feel like it was not sized, which is surprising to me because Spencer, I feel like, would be like, this is custom to my build.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. And maybe in his opinion, it was custom to his build. But more, again, it felt like a little oversized for me. And they
swallowed him.
And they go in for the close-up. And honestly, with Spencer, I was like, I could not stop laughing. And I think this is why, but especially they zoom in on the close-up of him. And I really just kept getting flashes of, do you remember the TV show Dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs, a TV show? What was it on?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea what it was on, but it's like a family of puppets, dinosaurs. Okay.
Oh my God. Yes. Okay, I do. They're super scary looking.
Yeah, but baby Sinclair, like, I think it was again because he looked so tiny in his suit. I just saw baby Sinclair.
Yeah, and for those of you who've never heard of this aired from 1991 to 1994. So the Dinosaurs TV show might not be known to all.
And it's also vintage.
But baby Sinclair is who?
baby Sinclair is the cutest little dinosaur baby on the show.
And you think it looks like Spencer?
Just when it extreme zooms on him, I just gave me.
I'm gonna need a side by side of this because that is a really scary looking like creature.
That smile though, Morg. It's the smile.
So I need to see the scene. Okay. I mean, I get that smile. I could see it. I just need
can
the
make
side
that
by
happen
side
for
of
you.
the scene. Okay, yes, but that pinstripe suit giving me weird vibes.
Yeah, well, speaking of more looks from New Year's, Morg, we're introduced to this new character, Lo, who's another one of Lauren's old friends who apparently they haven't been talking, but now that Jen's out of the picture, Lo's back. And Lo's hair,
right?
Might as well.
These people, like, they flip like a switch.
I know.
They're like, oh, now that Jen's out of my life, do you want to come hang out?
I know. I just imagine they started bonding over Jen being like I guess an inconsiderate friend, like, but I mean,
I bet they did. I bet she texted her the second she hooked up with Brody and was like, can you believe?
And it made their friendship stronger. So seems not like a strong foundation, but maybe for them a very strong foundation. I don't know. All I know is that Lo's hair was almost like a top hat at New Year's. It was very tall.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do you know what's stronger than their friendship? Lo's hairspray, because that girl, it was like a bouffant. I don't even know if that's a hairstyle. Is that one, or like a beehive?
It's definitely a bouffant for sure.
Yes, it was huge, and I feel like that was like the bump it vibe. That was it. I was like, that was something.
Yes. Another really strong trend. So I don't, my sister's not going to love this, but it made me think so much of my sister. My sister would wake up every morning and tease the crap out of her hair. And she always had really tall hair.
I remember, I feel like your sister like taught me how to tease my hair.
Me too, Morg. You gotta tease it, Morg, then you spray it, then you hold it, then you tease it some more, then you spray it some more, pick up another piece, and you repeat.
I have to say, I have never teased my hair like ever and like actually worn it as a style. I feel like I gave it a couple tries and it didn't do what your sister's hair always looked good. Mine looked like really natty at the base of my head.
I mean, I'm thinking it's all about hairspray. I mean, I got into it briefly, but it was too much work for me. I'd rather my hair look flat to my head, as we said, Hanson brother style, than put in the effort of teasing it. But I think the hairspray does a lot.
Yeah, your sister and Lo, they were closer to God. The bigger the hair, closer to God.
Amen.
Amen. There's some Audrina input for you. Amen.
That's all.
Okay, yeah. So Lo is risen from the woodworks. Now she is the best friend from home, and her hair is huge. Those are two very good looks from New Year's.
Yes, they stole the show.
Oh, and of course we have to have a scene, because when they're getting ready to have a party or go to New Year's, we always have to have a scene of them getting their hair done. And by them, I mean Heidi, Lauren Conrad. Audrina's now friends with Heidi again, so they're all at the hairstylist getting their hair did, which I feel like I couldn't stop hearing Audrina say.
See, I don't even remember her saying that, but the whole time I was watching this was thinking, like, they do this a lot. Like, it feels like in 2 seasons, and each season is only 10 episodes, 12 episodes, whatever. We've already seen them in the hair salon like 3 or 4 times. You know how many times I've gotten my hair done? 0.
Right. I was like, I haven't cut my hair since the beginning of quarantine. So I also have to say that's partially my fault because I had a very bad bang job. But I'm just saying these ladies have got their hair done a ton.
They live for the salon and the salon life, Morg, because
live for the salon.
They were in there and they were having a great time, or I should say Audrina and Lauren seemed to have a really good time. It seemed like they were very strategically placed in the salon too, because Heidi was right in between Lauren and Audrina.
Oh yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. And so Morg, I think this is where, as you said at the beginning, that you were like, Lauren's having a lot of fun. And I was like, I don't know. I just wondered if it was in a way to make Heidi feel bad, because this was kind of where I got that vibe from, because one, the amount of times Lauren says Audrina's name was insane. She's like, Audrina and I are doing this. Audrina and I are going to be twinsies. It's like, gosh, this girl is obsessed. She said her name so much.
Maybe you're right that it was like on purpose to be rude to Heidi. I didn't even think of that, but I think you're right.
I don't know, but it just flashed to Heidi, and Heidi looks really like out of the know, which again, Heidi is totally out of the know. Heidi has not been involved. She's been so into Spencer and spending all of her time with Spencer that she's really not around to
Yeah.
hang out. So I didn't know if it was like a genuine, like they were like building a stronger relationship, or if it was like a little bit meant to needle her.
No, I feel like that's a good point though. And the positioning of where she sat, that's gotta suck.
Oh, but
So maybe Elsie was just being a little bit of like a
but
jerk.
I felt like the seating position was production.
Okay, true. And they're like, and Lauren, say Audrina's name at least 10 more times than you normally would.
We'll give you a bonus if you say Audrina 60 times.
Oh my God, is Spencer on the production crew?
All right, Lauren. So here's what you're going to do.
Then we get to go see them go out for. Okay, first of all, they go to the same club all the time. And then they're like, for New Year's, we're going to go to the same club we always go to. That's been where they go to their birthday. That's like where Heidi works sometimes. Now they're out for New Year's. I was like, this has got to be boring. Is this the same room y'all were in for like Lauren's birthday or Heidi's birthday? Yeah.
Hey, it's a solid choice, Morg. You always know it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Everybody loves a good time, but I don't believe Area's it. Like, I like a staple, but I don't think it's at Area.
But Morg, it's all we know. I mean, where else would they go to if it wasn't Area?
LAX. Remember that club?
Vaguely.
I saw that one flashed up a bunch in season 1. What happened?
Lauren and Jason had a huge blowout there where Jason was threatening to break up with her. That's what I remember.
Okay, bad memes. Okay, got to move to Area. Well, then we go back to Area. We've seen the room before. We'll see it again. That's where they celebrate New Year's. And Lauren calls the dude that she has brought short. And I thought that was rude.
Well, I don't even really remember that. I think I was so hung up on the fact that Lauren met this stranger the night before and was so hung up on having a New Year's kiss that she invited him out to celebrate New Year's with her. I mean, I feel like this confirmed everything we've always said about New Year's is people go nuts for their New Year's kiss.
If you want to be a random dude in LA on New Year's, you'll find somebody that'll kiss you because that is the woman's desperation of New Year's Eve.
Gosh, if you're a single dude and you're just looking to get a smackaroon, I mean, maybe something more, go to LA apparently. Honestly, go to any club on New Year's. I think it's not even just LA. I think anywhere.
That's true. But this guy was like visiting from Colorado. I don't know. Super random.
I just wondered if he was expecting... if he knew when he agreed to go, like, or well, if he knew he was going to be on a show and if he knew he was going to get kissed like at midnight, like if he expected that.
How do you even broach that subject? First of all, how did they even meet? Probably the night before at Area. Duh. And
totally.
Then she's like, you should come here tomorrow so I can kiss you on New Year's. Like, if she's that obsessed with kisses on New Year's, she probably told him he was going to get a smooch.
Yeah, probably. But I like your question more is how do you think he just found out in the moment he was going to be on TV? Do you think he met her on film and they just cut that off the
I'm sure they
show?
Like, made him sign something and then he was like, cool MTV.
I'm going to be a movie star.
I mean, I don't like say I'm a movie star, but I was in an episode of The Hills once. So
oh my gosh. But yeah, so he goes in and whenever it flashes midnight Morg, I was shocked. No, I wasn't. What am I saying here? Audrina is like just right in Lauren's face with the camera to capture.
We didn't talk about how she calls him short. Like, that's rude.
Okay, you're right. That is rude. And I apologize because I completely brushed by it because I had so many more things, but that is super rude. And again, I don't even remember that because I just remember him being like, well, I thought it was tall.
Yes. That's why it's so confusing. She like calls him short on this TV show he didn't know he was going to be on. And then he's like baffled and is like, I thought I was pretty tall. And she's like, are you? I was like, oh, dang.
But do you think she was just trying to flirt?
I don't know, Joe, but I just really liked that scene. So sorry I made us come back to it, but I feel he was super confused.
No, and I must have blinked when she said that because it was one of those moments where you had to read the subtitles. So maybe I was even like typing up some notes because I just looked up and saw him being like, I thought it was tall. And I should have jumped back 10 seconds to see what was the context of him questioning his height.
Who am I? What? But yeah, maybe she was flirting because he really didn't seem that bothered by it. I just was like, did she just call him short?
Well, and their whole conversation did seem really playful. So like you said, it did seem like she was having fun. It seemed like she was having a really good time with him. Too bad it was just a fling. He had to go back to Colorado in 3 days.
Okay, but to your point, yes, Adriana is at the ready at midnight with lo and behold, a digital camera to snap the New Year's kiss of the random Colorado man and Lauren Conrad.
Which was so weird. And did they plan that? And would you ever want to look back at that, Morg? Like thinking about it where you are now in your life, like looking back when you were 20 and you're making out with a stranger on New Year's. I don't want that captured.
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking like if I could like find the power cord to my digital camera, like what memories are locked in there? Something weird, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. Please look for the cord. I would love to see what's on your digital camera.
I can only assume that there's just like pictures of stupid crap like us at the clubs in Europe. That's like the last time, that's the last time I ever used my digital camera on our Europe trip.
Yeah, you're right. There were lots of pics taken on that.
Yeah. So there's a little, time capsule there of ours. So no, I absolutely would not want that footage ever again. Like I'd be like, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't even know that guy's name.
Yeah, I feel like those are the memories I don't want. Those are the things I want to forget instantly.
I'd be like, Audrina, this is just a New Year's kiss. This isn't like a Jason. This isn't Jason, okay?
Well, honestly, based on what I know of Jason, I'd want to forget that too.
But can we? Because she won't stop talking about him.
So true. He came up a lot.
Then, I don't know if you caught this, but she kisses her guy. Audrina snaps their photos. Then Elsie kisses Audrina on the lips. And it looks like, oh my God, like almost like a chip tooth moment. I was like, those are like teeth knocking.
What the heck, Morg? I missed him being called short, and now I missed this. Like, I thought they went in for a hug, but clearly I was not paying attention. Like, I didn't realize they locked lips, but in a way that looks like dangerous.
Yeah, but it was like, I think they were meaning to do like your most hated European kisses, but then they just like bonked each other's mouths, and then they were just like giggling,
Okay, I gotta go watch it again because I was snoozing or something. How did I not notice that?
Well, you know who was snoozing the whole thing? Heidi and Spencer. They were just asleep. It seemed like bored, hated being there, really weren't rooting for Lauren Conrad's 3-day fling.
But again, for me, every time they flashed to Spencer, even though, yes, you're right, they were very tame by their standards. They didn't do anything. Every time I saw Spencer, though, I couldn't help but laugh. Like, again, I think it was the suit.
He's a madman in a suit that's twice his size.
Yes, and I thought he was well behaved whenever it comes time to pass out sparklers, and he's like, "Hey, Lauren, do you want a sparkler?" But he just looks like a big kid in his suit, or I don't know, but I mean...
Yeah, he did look like a big kid in like his dad's suit. That is a good way to
And he's also partially behind Heidi, so he looks very in the shadows, which kind of gave him a murdery vibe, and he's smiling. I mean, every time I saw him on New Year's, I was almost in tears laughing.
I gotta look more at the footage of Spencer. So while I was watching everything Lauren did, you apparently were just waiting for glimpses of Spencer.
I was studying Spencer, and I was very tired, so I might have been a little bit delirious. I wonder if when you watch it, you're gonna be like, what is this girl? This isn't funny at all. Spencer's just standing there.
But he is in that suit, so it's probably pretty good.
Which is everything.
Okay, but a key component of New Year's, and pretty much the only thing we get out of Heidi the whole night, is that Heidi tells Lo that she's going to move in with Spencer.
Yes. So we saw Spencer at the top of the episode asking Heidi, and Heidi's like on the fence, but you're right. Like she tells Lo, she's like, he wants me to move in with him. And I think she does kind of allude to the fact that she's going to move in.
I do think she wants to move in with him, but I feel like he's so manipulative, and we see when he asks her, he is planting seeds, Joe, like of his manipulation. I was just like, he says things like, I don't want to say this is affecting our relationship, because he's like talking crap about Lauren the whole time. And as tame as we see him on New Year's, he is really just still anti-Lauren. And he's like, I don't want to say it's affecting our relationship, but it's definitely not helping it. I was like, I feel like if my person I was dating said that to me, I'd be like, are you threatening me? Because that's what it sounds like.
No, I totally agree. Like everything that came out of his mouth it was like it was Lauren's fault, or like it was like Heidi's fault. Like it's like Spencer has no
blame.
Yes, which was annoying because everything that was wrong with their relationship or whatever was like came back to Lauren.
Yes, it's like he has found like someone to dump all of his bad behavior on in their relationship. And Heidi just listens to it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was frustrating because I feel like Heidi doesn't give Lauren the time of day, and Spencer's like, you've tried. Like, you can't do anything if she doesn't want to try. And I was like, what are you talking about? Last episode, you guys went to the freaking movies, and Heidi ditched out on her dinner date with Lauren.
Yeah, and at the end of New Year's, Heidi was so upset that, like, you know, they kind of carried on with her night without her. And Spencer and Heidi are getting a cab to go home, and he is just like using this as his in. He's like, see, they just left you. See, they don't want you. See, they don't care no more. It was just like, I have an in to get inside Heidi's brain, and I'm going to use it. And Heidi's just like, okay, yeah, I guess that's how I feel.
Yeah, it was frustrating to watch. And also what kept coming to my mind was about how, as we've talked about, Heidi's so like, you don't know what he's like when it's just the two of us. And the whole time I'm thinking, this is what it's like when it's just the two of you.
Like mind games.
Spencer, yeah, mind games. And then also like a zero accountability on Spencer's part. It's either Lauren's fault or indirectly Lauren's fault, like through Heidi or whatever. Like I found that really annoying, and I didn't see anything special in their relationship or the way they treated each other.
Yeah, when they're alone, the special moments when they're alone. Also, when he's peer pressuring her to move in with him, which is just a bad sign in and of itself. Don't move in with a boyfriend if they peer pressure you, and don't move in with a regular friend if they peer pressure you. That just should be a rule of thumb. But he's like, come on, what's holding you back? Like, what is it? Like, and she specifically says, I have people in my life who would care, and like, I want to, you know, think about this and whatever. And he like literally like starts to play like the world's smallest violin to her, and he's like, boo hoo hoo. Oh my God, this guy sucks so bad. He won't even listen to what she cares about. Boo.
Well, and I think that's, looking at them one-on-one, it's like he does it in a way that's joking, but in a way that's really rude and like inconsiderate, because he does it a bunch. Like whenever they're out at, I think it's a different dinner, Morg, and he's like, Heidi's got all the baggage. And she's like, no. And
nope,
he's like,
save
yeah. Like, but it's like their tone is really playful, but he's also being like, no, but for real.
Yes. And not to worry, Joe, that's the same dinner. So
oh, it's the same one. Okay.
Just they all blur together the whole time. It's fine. And yes, he's like, man, there's just so much baggage in our relationship, so much baggage, and all the baggage, Heidi, is yours. Like, he just like literally says that. I was like, this is a really weird one-on-one date. Yeah, this is odd. Is this what y'all are doing alone? Really, really not jealous of it. Not looking for that in my relationship.
Yeah, it was like mean banter.
Yeah, and he's like, all the baggage is yours, Heidi. Could you imagine someone you're dating say that to
you? Well, more, I mean, I would have left long before it got to this point based on the other things he said. But yeah, I think I would be like, I'm sorry, what? And which came first? Playing the tiny violin going boo hoo hoo? Because I think I would have like immediately gotten up, chugged my wine, and been like, I'm getting a cab. Goodbye.
Boo hoo hoo. Yeah, that was really bad. Yeah, you're right. He had me at Naked Picnic. I would have been out since Naked
Naked
Picnic.
picnic.
Since cult leader vibes stepped in, I'd be out.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why this just popped in my head. Weird Spencer tangent. Naked Picnic sounds like a weird song that would be a radio hit. Naked picnic, naked picnic. Meet you at the beach. Let's go on
Oh,
a
you're
naked
so right.
picnic. Take all your clothes off. Let's eat cheese.
Oh, eat cheese, yeah.
It's a banger. They're going to be playing it at Area.
Oh my god. Well, should we go? I met this guy from Colorado.
Yes, Mark, I need my New Year's kiss. For the past 3 New Years, I've kissed strangers.
Okay, but all of this to say, Spencer's peer pressuring Heidi. Heidi seems like she wants to move in with him. She tells Lo before she tells Lauren Conrad. Lo, of course, then tells Lauren. So Lauren knows that this has all come up prior to then Heidi meeting with Lauren about it to tell her, like, hey, I'm thinking of moving in with Spencer. And it really annoyed me during the scene because Heidi's like, I just found out that he wanted me to move in with me. Or, yeah, he wanted me to move in with him. And that's a lie. So that's stupid because this is all recorded. And I feel like she also pretends like she doesn't want to move in with him specifically for Lauren during the scene. So it's like rip off the Band-Aid, girl.
Well, and I think this is kind of goes back to what you said in the last episode we recorded about we've now hit a point where Heidi is no longer like a victim in the situation or whatever. It's like Heidi's just as responsible for everything that's going on. And I thought it was really crappy of her to agree to Spencer to move in with Spencer, and then go tell Lauren she's not going to move in with Spencer or whatever. I mean, because it just felt like ultimately you're just going to hurt Lauren whenever she does find out. I mean, you might as well just tell her now, like you said, rip off the Band-Aid. Like, you're not doing anyone favors by acting like it's not going to happen.
As much as we don't like Spencer, I just think it makes sense to just decide it. Like, she's wanted to move in with him. She's telling like her coworkers she's excited about it. I don't get the point of trying to pretend like you don't want to. It's not worth it.
Well, I think it's just to show Lauren or let Lauren think, because she knows Lauren doesn't like him, that she's not as into him as she really is or something. Like, I don't even know how to say that, but like, I think it's just to show Lauren that like, I know you don't like him, so I'm not going to immediately say yes or whatever, even though she already has. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I feel like she keeps flip-flopping. I think with Heidi, we don't know if she committed to Heidi. I mean, we don't know if she committed to Spencer yet. Or, I mean, here's another plot choice, Joe. The producers are showing us things out of order, which might be the case.
That's true. I haven't considered that at all. But again, I feel like I've gotten so into this show that I've forgotten the power and magic of editing. And I think I need to consider that some more, because some things happen where I'm like, why would you do that? And then I'm like, well, I don't know the full story here. There could have been something beforehand or whatever. So I think I definitely need to take a step back and think about that. That maybe they are playing us, because I think that's a huge point of reality television, is to create a narrative and let your viewer believe something.
Yeah, I feel like I think we might be getting played a little bit just because of how much they were trying to be like, look, she just committed to Spencer. Now we're going to make it seem like she's lying. So I don't know. That was just another take I had. But we get a really great quote from Lauren that should be on a plaque in your favorite cafe, which is, a good roommate is like a good pair of jeans.
You get them and you don't let them go.
And I was sad Whitney wasn't there because she would love that quote. She probably has it in her jean closet.
I was going to say, that's where Lauren saw it. Lauren like couldn't remember where she found the inspiration for that, but it's written above Whitney's closet.
Yes. Joe, have you ever had a particularly terrible roommate that you like really were like, you got to get out of here? I cannot live with you. That wasn't a good pair of jeans.
Honestly, Morg, yes, like some holy jeans, some ratty jeans. Have I never told you this, or have I never told you this on this podcast? I had a roommate when I lived in Madrid, and she was German. That doesn't really matter to my story, but she was German. So we were two different, came from two different cultures, I guess. And I had started noticing some of my stuff was disappearing.
Oh no.
And I had some Girl Scout cookies that were in the freezer, Morg. They were Thin Mints, and if you know anything,
Girl Scout cookies in Europe. Oh my God.
was a huge deal. And I'm a super, what's the word I'm looking for? Not stingy, but I like ration out things that are precious to me when it comes to food.
She's not going to eat it all in one take. Like she's going to be like, I
Yes.
am going to make this stretch.
Yes. So, and that's exactly what I done with my Girl Scout cookies. And one day I noticed 5 of them were gone. And I was like, that's so weird. And then, yeah, because I'm also like really obsessive about that, where I notice how many cookies I've eaten. And then the next day they were all gone, and it was just an empty box. So, when the 5 cookies were missing,
She put it back in there empty?
she just left it in there. So then it was like, oh my gosh. And then I went out of town and I came back and I noticed my closet was a mess. And that was, between that and the cookies, I went to her and I just was like, hey, we got to talk. And I didn't even realize to the extent that it was happening. But the amount of my stuff that she had was like way more than I would have guessed. And
She was like stealing it and putting it in her closet kind of thing, but not like stealing, like borrowing or what?
yes, she was borrowing it and I guess not returning it. But I don't know if she was going to put it back ever, or if like me confronting her was what made her put it back. Yeah, but Morg, I will say that not up until that point had I ever distrusted a roommate, but now after having that happen, it's like always in the back of my mind, like, as far as roommates go, can I trust that person? Are they using my things? Do I need to like put things that are important to me like in my room? Do I need to lock my room? I mean, it was horrible, and I was so ready for her to leave, and we ended up voting her out of like the house, and she had to move out. And get this, Mark, then she moved to Barcelona and she worked in a hostel, and I remember being like, how do I get this hostel's information and like warn them that this girl's a klepto?
She steals stuff. Holy cow. Wow. That is wild.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. That was kind of a long story, but
no, I mean, that was pretty good. I feel like you told me about her, but I didn't realize the extent it was.
And the crazy thing is that she was telling me about how it wasn't the first time it happened, but it wasn't going to happen again. And it was like, girl, you have a legit problem if this isn't the first time you're dealing with this. And you're just like,
oh my God. She was like a klepto.
She legit was.
Like, it's not even just like oh my God. And she knew she was a klepto. She's like, I'm trying to break my habits.
And that's exactly how she presented it. I was like, I don't believe you. Like the fact that you're taking my things, and like just because you don't want to get kicked out of the house, like you're telling me that, like that feels very opportune, I guess. But what about you, Morg? Have you had a roommate that was the worst pair of jeans?
I feel like I had 2. You know about both of them. They were both actually kind of similar in the sense that they were like being married to my roommate, in the sense that I wasn't allowed to do anything without them or hang out with people without them. And at first, like, I stupidly like thought like, oh, this person's kind of cool. And then they became more and more like overbearing. I was rooming with a Spencer Pratt, Joe.
Oh my gosh.
I just came to this realization. But like while I was speaking it, I was like, oh my God, like they just both were like, saw their in, and I feel like they were like constantly like, who'd you go out with? Oh my God, they're so annoying. Like, why would you go out with them and not invite me? And it was always like about them and how I was like not allowed to have friends outside of them. Super controlling, weird roommate situation. So
that is a Spencer.
Yes, like both of them just, one was like my freshman year dorm roommate, and I don't know, I like sometimes I'm like, maybe we're just immature, and like there was just like things like communication breakdown kind of thing that you can have as freshmen. I don't know, but she was kind of nuts.
Yeah, I was going to say more based on what I remember about her. There were some things that happened where, again, it almost seemed like it wasn't the first time, or it was like we heard things about her later, and it seemed like she was a little bit kooky.
Kooky, yes. But I was like, we were young, and when I look back at it, maybe it was like I could have probably communicated with her better and been like, hey, these things aren't okay. But instead, I was just like scared of her. So I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. But the second one, I just was like, I've dealt with this before. And we were out of college and like working my first job. And I was just like, oh, no, I've seen this. I've seen this book before. So I realized it, I feel like, a lot sooner. And then I just also was like, I don't care if you don't like come out with us. I don't care. Like my friend group doesn't get along with you because you've shown your colors. So it just made living with him really like difficult because they were just a little bit like mad at me all the time,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I feel like who you live with really affects your living situation. If you're coming home and you really despise your roommate, you're not like hanging out together. You know what I mean? It's like you go directly to your room and shut the door.
Yeah, I guess thankfully, like, I feel like I realized it early enough that I like almost the second time that I almost like cut it off before it got to a point where I was like, I still like feel like I just established we're not that close, and therefore I don't feel weird in like kitchen, living room, like common spaces.
Yeah. Did y'all live together for a full year or did you like cut it short?
Yeah, I think it was about a year, but I moved out. I think we signed an 18-month lease and then I moved out to move to California. So, anyways, it was weird, but I just like realized I was like, oh, I've seen crazy. I've seen it once before.
This ain't my first rodeo.
But I mean, for the most part, I've had great roommates. But when you get a bad one, I get it. It's not like a good pair of jeans. It's like a bad pair of jeans, ripped up the butt.
The ones that split when you sit down.
So I get what Lauren was saying. Lauren, one of the main points she makes when she's talking about being her roommate is she doesn't want to celebrate her 21st birthday without her best friend, roomie Heidi. So we get right into a Lauren B-Day sequence of events. And she's been planning it since Heidi's birthday. So I would expect big things, Joe.
And Morg, she's got nothing. And that's what she's telling. I think she's telling Audrina. And that made me so annoyed. It was that like, she told us she was planning it months and months ago. And she's like, I always thought I'd do something for my 21st, but I'm not going to do anything. And I was like, what? What do you mean?
I mean, maybe with all the drama, maybe she just was like, I want something low key.
Yeah, that could be so.
I don't know what happened there, but I was surprised as well. Months and months of planning, all for naught.
Down the tubes.
This is what you mentioned at the top of the episode. Heidi, I feel like, has concocted kind of a mean plan to surprise Lauren for her 21st birthday by telling her that Spencer's going to call, she essentially plans a surprise party where Spencer's going to call her and then Lauren's going to think they're going to go to dinner and she's going to be like, sorry, I can't go. And I just feel like that's like so rude because she knows Spencer doesn't like Lauren doesn't like Spencer. And so of course that's going to cause like her to feel like you're choosing Spencer over you on her birthday. I just was like, Heidi, come on.
Yeah, no, I agree. Cause I think it could have been done where Lauren would have totally been surprised, but we could have avoided a sad Lauren altogether. Cause as you just said, it's her birthday. Why make this girl suffer? What, to get a laugh out of it? Or I don't know.
I do feel like it was kind of like that because you could totally be like, hey, my mom just called and it's a family emergency.
Yeah.
And I have to go.
Or
like, but instead she specifically is like, Spencer needs me. I need to go.
Or you can be like, hey, I just realized I need to drop this thing off with my cousin. I'll meet you at the restaurant or something. I mean, I just felt like, or you could still just go with her.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't even have to be that dramatic.
Yeah. It didn't have to be dramatic at all.
Yeah. She could have just thought it was her and Heidi. Like, that's the thing. It's like nobody wants to feel like a letdown on their birthday. Like it could have just felt like you and Heidi were going to dinner and then everybody was there. But instead it was like Heidi had to make it so it was like a huge letdown first.
I mean, I think moments like these are why some people hate surprises.
That's such a good point because yes, I would be like so sad if that was how I felt in a moment. This just made me think. I threw a surprise party for somebody I dated at one point in time, and the restaurant that we had it at, they had us all downstairs, and I decorated all these tables. And I guess at some point when I was going to pick him up, the restaurant was like, oh, let's move them to our upstairs room. It just made more sense. But when we got there, I thought like no one showed up. And then he thought like nobody like, you know, like by the time we like arrive, and I had been like, oh, I just need to go pick something up from this place that like doesn't make sense. He like, you know, I put 2 and 2 together, and then he thought nobody had showed up for his surprise. And that was a horrible feeling. But then like everybody was just upstairs and they were like, a surprise. But it was a very horrible moment for a second there. I was like, oh my God, no one came.
Yeah, right. Questioning your friendships.
Yes, and his friendships. I was like, do these people not like you?
Wait, and you said that you decorated and everything. Did they move the decorations upstairs?
Yeah, it was like, you know, kind of like like not bouquets of balloons, but like, you know, groupings of balloons and stuff that were on tables. Yeah. So they just had moved them. It was like simple.
Okay.
But still a surprise for me.
Yeah, you guys both were surprised.
But I feel like, okay, so this mean surprise party occurs. Lauren gets Audrina in on it. So Heidi gets Audrina in on it. So when she cancels on Lauren calls Audrina. Audrina brings her to the party. All of that was unnecessary. Heidi could have brought her to the party, but she arrives, is surprised. And then we hear a new nickname for Spencer from Brody. Did you hear that?
Oh, I did. And this was a moment where I had to jump back to be like, is that what he just said?
He doubled down. Sprat, give us the toast. And I was like, why is Brody here? Go away.
Yes. And why on earth is he wanting Sprat to give the toast at Lauren's birthday? Like, oh my Brody.
Gosh, it was so annoying. I was like, why is Brody allowed to be here? First of all, you hooked up with your friend who you've like cut friendship with. Like, he should be equally like mad. You should be equally mad at him.
Well,
and now he's like doubling down on drama, trying to get Sprat to give her a toast.
Brody's just a doofus, Morg, and the reason he's there is because we overheard Heidi saying she needed 60 people at this party. So in my opinion, she just needed bodies there.
Bodies to fill a room. How annoying. Like, if someone was like, hey, you didn't have 60 friends, like we invited all your exes, like please just like forgive us, I'd be like, I don't even want to be here. Like, I don't want to be at this party.
Yeah. But, you know, she was there. She had a good time. And she didn't even seem to be that upset by Spencer's toast, which, can we talk about that?
Oh, yes. Let me read it because I wrote it word for word because it is the weirdest toast I've ever heard. First of all, it starts with Heidi, the love of my life. It's Lauren's birthday, so that doesn't make sense. And then he says, Heidi loves Lauren, and so Lauren must be an amazing person. We don't always see eye to eye, but they do. So at the end of the day, we all see eye to eye. I was like, what the hell is this toast?
Nailed it.
Like, what? None of this makes sense. Why didn't you just say happy birthday, Lauren? Why not that?
Well, and that's exactly what Lauren says at one point, is like, why not just say that? It was weird. It felt like it meant nothing but everything at the same time.
Heidi, the love of my life, is a friend of yours and you're a friend of mine. It just like made no sense.
That feels like the toast a stranger would give, where it's like, I don't know you, but my friend knows you, so therefore you must be great. And since I don't know you, I don't know a lot about you, but I'm sure since my friend likes you, we would see eye to eye.
That's like inner dialogue, Sprat. Don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud, Sprat. Keep that inside. Sure. If I was thinking all of those things you just said, Joe, I would just say, happy birthday.
But clearly Spencer's not that kind of guy, Morg. Also, you keep saying Sprat, and I cannot decide why I hate this nickname so much, Morg. Is it because it sounds like splat or spit, or why am I hating Sprat so much? Why is Sprat an option?
Because Spidey hasn't been born yet. I just Sprat it is for the time being until somebody in this friend group finally decides that they're Spidey and they're going to make it for the long haul.
Oh my gosh.
I bet when they move in is when they get their nickname.
I thought the tabloids nicknamed them that. I don't know if the people on the hills are clever enough, considering they came up with Sprat.
Well, Brody might have another one up his sleeve. We'll see.
We'll find out.
Oh, also, I just had to give a shout out because the Chanel bag that Jason got Lauren was spotted in some of the scenes of these episodes. So there's an Easter egg for you.
Well, also, Heidi has the same Chanel bag. I wrote down, I was like, did Heidi borrow this from Lauren, or did Heidi buy this from Lauren, or did they both have the same Chanel bag?
Or is Heidi your roommate and she's a klepto?
Heidi's my German roommate.
But I think we have to end our episode tonight discussing Jen Bunny. She's back. I had written her out of the show. I had decided she was gone, but she came back.
I was ready for her to go.
And she is here to talk about things with her hair in her face, feeling very embarrassed.
Oh, and Lauren nails it when she's like, your puppy eyes. Like, I couldn't decide if Jen just looks like that or if Jen was making like puppy eyes.
No, Jen was being, I don't know, weak. She was just like, I mean, she regretted what she did, I guess, because she still wanted to be on the show. Like, okay, looking at it now, Joe, and since you told me that Lo stays on the show going forward, I was wondering if they were going to give Jen that spot and Lauren Conrad had like enough pull to be like, no, she's a crappy friend. I don't want her. I want, this other friend. Like, I wonder if like Jen was like trying to keep her hold on the show and it was like, no, you're out.
Oh, interesting. Crazy if Lauren holds that much power, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, I guess I just thought like she is so mad at Jen, and I feel like they just like raised this low person from nowhere. And I think she really kind of did say like, I might leave the show if you're going to pick Jen, or, like it didn't matter. She was always Lauren's friend. So I kind of just feel like she had enough pull.
I would totally believe that.
And so I was kind of thinking like, this is Jen Bunny's last attempt to get on this show, but also like the producers are eating it up, of course, because it's drama of like, sadly, this girl like crawling back to this group of people that have said they're mad at her and trying to get like forgiveness. And they're all like, no.
Yeah. Well, Morg, as we learn, we don't really get the details on it, but we find out that when Lo is introduced, that Lauren and her and Jen were all friends since like third grade, I guess. But then Lo and Jen had like a falling out. I'm assuming over like a similar issue. I think she said it was over boys. She doesn't go into detail. And so that's why Lauren and Lo stopped talking. So we do find out this is not Jen's first time pulling something like this, maybe.
She's a multiple offender. Because Lauren also brings up that I guess when she told Jen she liked Jason at the very beginning of their relationship, Jen went and made out with him. So Jen's got a bad track record.
Okay. As does Jason. Like, I heard that and I was like, this is the foundation of Lauren and Jason's relationship. Can you imagine when your kids imagining that Lauren and Jason ended up together and it's like, how did y'all meet? And it's like, at a club. My friend made out with Jason first.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Joe, some people live different lives than I do.
Yeah, I just feel like the way Lauren is, I don't know, because especially since the Jen thing with Brody, whatever, it bothered her so much. It really shocked me when it was revealed that Jen had made out with Jason right before Lauren, and Lauren went on to date him for a year.
But he's so hot. He's got dog tags and chin strap hair.
Spiky hair and Ed Hardy.
But Bunny first, I guess because nobody's taking her calls, Jen Bunny shows up to Heidi's workplace.
Oh, Morg, this was my favorite part of the episode. One, Heidi's doing nothing at work. She's talking about planning Lauren's birthday party when Jen Bunny shows up. Like, she's not working at all.
No, but is she ever?
Exactly. She's not. But suddenly when Jen Bunny shows up, she's like, oh my
I'm
gosh,
so busy.
she clearly looks uncomfortable. Yeah, she's like, I'm really busy at work right now. I really shouldn't be talking to you. I'm at work. And I was shocked because I've never seen Heidi like that before.
I've seen Heidi take countless coworkers into conference rooms and tell them about like relationship drama that she's suffering with Sprat.
Yeah, so that's why it was super weird for her to be suddenly really swamped at work.
Yes. And she also, to me, it was odd that she's like, come out here. And she like makes her go to the lobby to discuss things, which I'm like, okay, I guess you're not like supposed to be distracting the workplace. And Jen Bunny also has her hair in her face the whole time. Like, it's like I don't know. It's like she almost like didn't want people to like see her. She's like, okay,
Ooh,
well,
she was hiding.
I just haven't been able to get a hold of anybody, like hiding behind her hair.
Oh, yeah, she was kind of like that.
But Heidi's just like busy, busy. And I remember she also says, another place, another time, maybe. And I'm like, another world, another life. Like, let's just add to this.
Yeah, it was like everything Jen said, it was like Heidi was kind of just like brushing it off and being like, oh, just so busy, you know. I mean, I really shouldn't be doing this. Like, it's just like Jen was just not taking a hint either. And the best was when it was really what ended it was like Heidi's like, busy, busy, busy. And Jen's like, I'm sorry, what'd you say? And Heidi's like, oh, busy, busy, busy. I'm just so busy at work.
Heidi knew she was lying. And then Jen made her say it twice.
Yes, but Morg, can I tell you what I loved so much about this was then after this whole interaction with Jen, Heidi goes and tells Lauren all about it. And, you know, the way she tells it to Lauren does not represent at all how it went down. She's like, and I told Jen to leave my workplace and not to come back. And I was like, that's weird because I definitely just watch you kind of mumble busy, busy. Like,
yeah, that's not what you did at all. Oh, super busy.
I don't know. I'm just like really busy.
But we know Heidi's recounts of things are probably always skewed.
Yes. Yes.
Also, Jen Bunny, of course, she's trying to claw her way back in. But Brody is like blameless in all this. And it really, really frustrated me.
Oh, I totally agree. I really could not understand why Jen was being punished so severely and Brody was able to attend the birthday party. And on top of that, him and Lauren go out to like a lunch date after the fact. And I was really irritated that Lauren was not holding him accountable.
And they go on a lunch date and talk shit about Jen. And I was like, how do you not like the guy is shameless. He's just like, oh yeah, so she's done this before. And I was like, you've done this before.
And but he does kind of make a face like, whoops. And Lauren's like, you didn't do anything. And I was like, what do you mean he didn't do anything? He did everything.
I was like, you need to take a page from Joe's book and make him walk up to people in the mall and tell them he is a tool.
Lauren, I say yes, still make him to do it. However, it doesn't change much.
He'll stay a tool for sure, but at least you'll have that footage.
And apparently no memory of it.
Finally, the end of the Jen Bunny drama. And now I think for real, the end of us seeing Jen Bunny is Bunny showing up at Lauren's apartment. You have a note, sloppy thirds. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so Bunny comes in and she's really, I don't know how to describe what she's doing. She's like apologizing for what she did, but she's also justifying what she did. And I just love that.
Real Housewives apologizing. I didn't mean to make you feel that way.
I'm sorry, that was not my intention.
The intentions weren't there.
Yeah. So it's like she apologizes, but then she comes back and she's like, but Lauren, they were sloppy thirds. And it's like, girl, they were.
And she is claiming it. She's like, that's all it was, sloppy thirds. I was like, I would never say that out loud.
No, well, and that's the thing was like, Jen Bunny had no shame almost or whatever when Lauren's like, I don't know what you're thinking. And Jen Bunny's like, I wasn't thinking. It's like, well, I can't argue with that. Like, at least Jen is willing to admit she's a moron.
Lauren was kind of trapping her with her own words. And she's like, yeah, I know it wasn't your intentions. And I know you didn't think about it because that's the problem. You didn't think about me once during all of this. And Jen's like, yeah, like I really didn't.
Yeah, she was. I mean, I felt like Jen seems like someone who would be hard to argue with because she was just like, yeah, it didn't even do what you just said I could have done.
Like not a flicker of a light in my brain went off. But I think this friendship's over, officially over. I know I already said that, but now I'm like, it has to be done now.
I agree. I think that's the last we see of Jen Bunny. But Morg, I took this, my inner film major. I was like, is this foreshadowing for Heidi and Lauren's relationship? Or is this just like kind of a contrast of how we just shut it off with Jen Bunny, but Heidi seems to get a lot of opportunities?
Yeah, I guess I was kind of thinking it was more contrast of like many things. It was just like, oh, you'll give Brody a ton of slack. Like you'll just be like, oh, take some more. You want to keep kissing girls? Go ahead. And you'll give Jen Bunny no slack. And Heidi also gets a ton of slack to lie to your face and say she never was going to move in with Spencer before she talked to you.
Yeah.
So I guess I was on the contrast side of this.
Yeah. We'll see, Morg. I mean, I think you're right. I think it did really serve to show that she's so lenient with Heidi.
Yep. But I guess she's about to crack down because, as we know, we only got one more season with LC. So the end is near.
The end is upon us.
Well, let's keep watching, Joe, because we get to see how high Lo's hair gets over the seasons that she joins. And we get to see, I guess, over the next 4 seasons, we get to see all of the New Year's kisses that they must have because it's a requirement. And the seasons of the birthdays. So if you haven't already, grab your guy from Colorado for the next 3 days and watch the last 2 episodes of season 2 before we come out with our podcast next week, because it's episodes 11 and 12 recapping before we move into season 3. We are just chugging right along. We are the Double Loser Podcast, and we drop episodes every Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Double Loser Podcast. See you next week.